My name is Koffi Kouakou. I'm one of the director of the Millennium Program, South African Nodes. I live in South Africa, basically in Pretoria. Ok, ça c'est, je me suis présenté rapidement. What I do is I specialize mainly in scenario planning, teaching, basically, and I also teach other subjects such as government communication, and the role of strategic communication is very important to me and to what I teach, both at the university but also with potential private clients. Now, I'm here today in Morocco, where we're having a panel of international futurists to discuss the potential trends and the effects on Morocco and on also the world in large, from all the way till 2030, but also to 2050 as a time horizon. Some of the big issues that were discussed beside the macro issues, as in forces that are shaping the world in 2030 to 2050. They're largely very, very important ones. They're both man-made, but also natural forces. On the man-made side, the economy will be very, very important, but I suppose, on my point of view, it will be a bit of a different, decentralized economy where the idea that, to me, everyone will be a banker, in the sense that peer-to-peer capital resource sharing will be more important. Obviously, big banks won't disappear, but it's very important. The other one that I think it's important to consider is largely the nature of leadership. The kind of leadership we might need in 2030 to 2050 will be probably different. It's not quite a bottom-up leadership that we would see, but it's a combination of both the pressure coming from the bottom-up citizen leadership to the realization of the elite understanding that there must be a shared leadership system that allows everybody else to benefit from what the environment and resources we have at play in this global environment. Obviously, it will be difficult because of the nature of power. Concentrated power always is a constraint and resists new forms of power and new forms of government and governance. So from leadership to governance, there's a strong link between those two. And the nexus for me in 2030 to 2050 is the link between leadership, governance, and well-being right across the globe. That links me back to another micro force, which is the nature and the impact of that kind of nexus, leadership, governance, and well-being, onto the family. The family is a very important unit that will change dramatically right around the world, in the sense that it may not be the kind of families that we've known in the old days with 10, 15 children, or perhaps one man and a woman, but it could be different forms. But most important is that we'll have reduced number of children, perhaps 1.2 or 2 children. And at the heart of that, it will also define the kind of values families will stand for. And values in general and their evolution between 2030 to 2050 will be very, very important. What kind of values do we stand for? Is it an open society, a transparent society, where governance, by and large, not because it's concentrated in one place, but it's distributed, but at the same time it's transparent enough so that it could be checked, so that the quality of the governance literally leads to much larger benefits to the citizens who are electing their leaders. And I think that's one of the reasons the nexus between leadership, governance, and well-being, and its translation in the quality of family life and family values, for me, is essentially important. That means in the values we also have to talk about education. To me, going forward, instead of thinking about an education at the university, I'm looking at the future of education as a pluri-university environment, or in a pluri-university environment, where it's not about a university, but rather a multiversity, where the learning comes from different places, not just local, regional, continental, but also global, all at the same time, and where knowledge intents and information and communication, and of course, technology will be one of the most powerful enabler to that kind of change going forward. And the last one for me will be the nature of innovation, in the sense that if we have such a fast-changing pace of an environment in 2030 or 2050, the way we learn will be very, very important. And it's not just learning, but it's the application of the learning that will change the nature of our well-being. Innovation becomes essential, but also innovation in designing new governance systems that are resilient enough so that they can withstand the kind of shocks we're seeing in the economy, in the failure of traditional leaderships, and then in the failure of global institutions that are not delivering on the mandate that they set themselves up to. On that note, this is what I think is very important to me. And at that time, I also want to put the role of Africa as a continent where I think Africa will be the last frontier, literally, where a great deal of experimentation in leadership, governance, and in well-being institutions and system will start to thrive. And I look forward to a much better Africa. And I'm very convinced that things will change for the better for the African continent.